Today we're going to be checking out another reaction about the U.S. and Europe's relationship, and this one specifically is why U.S. products struggle in Europe.
And there's been some news recently about the old tariffs. Don's putting the tariffs on everyone, and a bit confusing, but causing some issues.
Apparently, a lot of shipping companies from Europe and Australia and other places around the world are refusing to ship things to the United States now because of the extra cost from the tariffs. But I mean, good on them. They're not folding to Trump like so many other places.
And it seems like there's confusion too, because they don't know what the whole customs and stuff. They don't know what actual tariff is the one that's being enforced right now.
I mean, you mean when Don just is like, I'm putting tariffs, 20% tariffs across the board.
Here's my chart of the tariffs. And then he meets with all these leaders, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, I've reduced the tariffs of the Philippines by 1%.
Then the tariffs, if the country's like, we don't want to do this. He's like, okay, tariffs paused, 3 months, that's all right. The Don. All right, let's do this. Here we go.
Tariffs are on.
Hold on, we need some audio for our video.
We're gonna hear.
Our audio comes out of a headphone, by the way. Let's do it.
Wait a minute. Tariffs are off. Or tariffs are on again. Or we're going to put a pause on tariffs so we can communicate. Or communications aren't going well. We're going to put the highest tariffs ever on.
Basically what we were just saying.
It goes back and forth. Are you pretty exhausted about all this tariff talk? Yeah,
Yes.
I am too, for sure. And I tell you, I wonder if there's, sometimes I wonder, is there really any logic or thought to this, or is it just like whatever we feel like from day to day?
Yeah,
But
it seems like that
anyway,
one.
so
Like
I'm
one.
Lee.
That's the whole summary of Don's presidency right now. Whatever he feels like day to day, he just all of a sudden pushes every resource he has towards it.
Where are the files? Wait, never mind. Don't release the files. It might be on them.
Oh, by the way, we're sending the National Guard.
Betty's behind the camera, and we are here on an absolutely beautiful day in Seattle, Washington. We're going to show you some images of the city.
wondering where that
We've got
was.
the beautiful Olympic Mountains behind me and the Puget Sound, so it's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, something that as an American from the United States who lives in Germany, and we hear about this tariff talk, some things that that I've been thinking about recently are, what's the purpose of it? So it seems to be like there's a belief, amongst our president and a lot of people who live in the United States, they seem to think that Germans or Europeans in general don't buy products from the United States. And I don't know where that thought comes from, because where the way I see it, I mean, Europeans in general, Germans buy a lot of products from the United States, especially technological products and the service industry. I mean, you look, a lot of people have iPhones, a lot of people have Apple products, a lot of people wear American clothing. You see Levi's all over the place. Food and drink, American fast food is everywhere. So they do use a lot of...
It produces no products in the U.S.
Wow.
I think that was just news recently that they just switched to producing in India now because it's cheapest to do it in India.
Apple is the biggest money-hungry company ever.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They're designed in the U.S. though.
Oh, really? And they said they made a deal with Donald that they were gonna make some super insignificant thing in the U.S. I don't remember what it was, but that was the big thing. Is Tim Cook was like, oh, we're gonna start making all of our this in the U.S. and it was the cheapest thing to produce.
Of course.
American
And Don, of course, was like, yes, we're doing it. We're making a deal.
They did it for me.
products, but it seems to be time and time again, the big concern is, why don't Europeans drive American-made cars? Why don't they drive cars that come from the United States? And I guess the blame is on tariffs. So we're going to jack up the tariffs on European products because, people in the U.S. love to drive foreign cars. We drive a lot of cars from Japan. We love cars from Germany. So why don't Europeans feel the same about our cars? And
'Cause
anyone
they
who
don't
asks
want to
that,
drive around massive tanks through their
Yeah.
little. I mean, do you see the street that I was just showing right here? Can you imagine driving a Ford F-150 down the street? It would take up the entire road.
That bike may be on the side of the down in the ditch after
I
that.
think so.
Europeans feel the same about our cars. And anyone who asks that question, I have to wonder, have you ever been to Europe? Have you ever been to Germany? And if you have you ever driven over there? And if you have, then you'd probably realize why they don't drive a lot of US made cars, because they're just not practical for the roads for a few reasons. Number one, for the most part, US cars are too big. A lot of European roads are designed around medieval cities, and I mean, sure, the highways are plenty big, but the small roads in the towns and villages just aren't big enough to accommodate huge Suburbans or Tahoes or whatever the case may be. So the vehicles just are not practical. And
It's interesting that like a lot of European and Japanese cars that manufacturers that come into the U.S. design cars differently for the U.S., but then the American brands won't do that for other regions. Really interesting. Kind of says something about the mindset of their companies.
It's not American
Yeah.
if you're not building a tank-sized truck.
It's
I mean,
not.
it's kind of like the video we saw about Starbucks in Australia. Starbucks went into Australia and they refused to change to adapt to Australia. They're like, we're Starbucks, we're American, we do it our way, and then they like went out of business.
Yeah, didn't do well for them, and now they're trying to make it back, and they're like, actually, guys, we'll change for you now, because
But
money, money, money.
Still not that much. It's like the American company ego. I
Yeah.
swear it exists.
in Europe. And also, and parking can also be very tight. I mean, if you've got a big, American truck, you're going to have a hard time finding parking in many European cities, towns, and villages. It's just not. It's not going to be easy. And then you've got the fuel cost. Fuel is a lot more expensive in Europe
gas
than it is
guzzler?
in the United States. And I hear a lot of Americans complain about the price of gas, but it's nothing in the United States
bucks.
compared to what it is in Europe. So, and American cars just tend to use a lot of fuel compared to American and Asian cars. Now, Europeans will buy foreign cars because if you look at the car market in the European Union, about 25% of the new cars sold in Europe right now are Asian brands. They either come from Japan or South Korea, for the most part, and also they are buying more Chinese cars now too. And and if you look even more closely at that, so about 25% are brands from Asia, but and then I think about 13% of the cars sold in Europe are actually produced in Asia
Oh,
and
of
shipped
course.
to Europe. So they will buy foreign cars, but if you look at the Asian cars, they identify the market in Europe and they adapt their product to the market.
Exactly what we were saying.
I think Japanese cars are great at that, and even the South Korean cars, because you'll see Japanese.
It's like American companies, they only do those things like if it's like illegal not to change, like the food brands like Mountain Dew and Coke and the cereals. They take out all those weird chemicals that are for some reason legal in the US and then put them in the European market, or take out a ton of sugar.
And those are the same brands that are like trying to be in literally every country in the world. Like you'll find those in dang Democratic Republic of the Congo. You'll find some Mountain Dew probably.
It's very interesting. So for cars, maybe some of these things, I mean, like the size, I'm sure there probably is some like laws around the size, but if there's not like super strict laws like that, they're like, oh, we're not going to change.
Cars in the United States, you'll see Toyotas in the United States that you'll never see in Europe, because they develop big cars for the American market because they know people in the U.S. want big cars. So Toyota makes big cars. They make, the Toyota Tundra pickup trucks. They make Land Cruisers and things like that for the American market that they don't sell in Europe because Europeans don't want them. if Asian, car manufacturers can do that, why can't American car? And when we talk about the practicality of autos, from my experience from living in Germany, Germans are very practical people, right? They want to spend their money on something that they need and they're going to get use out of. So, for the few people in Germany that, say, for example, need a pickup truck, more often than not, it's going to be an American brand. You'll see quite a few Ford F-150s, you see some Ford Rangers, and
Like
you see some Ram
farmers.
pickup trucks. You don't see very many Chevrolets. I'm not sure why that is. But whenever you see a pickup truck, more often than not, it is an American brand, even though Volkswagen and Mercedes actually make pickup trucks, but I would say you see more American brand trucks in Europe than you do German brands. And so they will buy American products if it's something they need, but they're just not going to buy big Yukons or Suburbans because they just don't need them. They're not practical. They use too much gas and they don't fit on their roads. And the other product, switching gears.
It's interesting that, like, I'm sure a lot of those Europeans really do use the truck and use the dang the trunk, the whatever that's called, the bed of the truck for actual things. But a lot of Americans buy trucks and they'll never use the bed of that truck
It's just cool to
at
have
all. Maybe they'll put some fishing poles in there every once in a while, or like
Go fishing.
some of their groceries, like a 12-pack of beer back there.
I
But
feel like a lot of people, they end up just putting the groceries in the back
Yeah.
seat because they would fly around the back and it's hard to get them once they go way back.
yeah, so
It's just for looks.
less practicality, like he's saying.
I mean, it's like, even for like, you'd expect it to be like the country boys that would get it. Like, even women will get like big pickup trucks in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It's like a status symbol in some areas.
Um,
Probably not in Seattle, Washington as much, but like out in the country area, Midwest, South for sure, mountain areas.
So, and the other product, switching gears a little bit, that I hear a lot of talk about is, the
I
president
like the no pun intended
Trump
caption.
wants Europeans, and he wants the EU to buy more food from the United States. And I would say a big reason why a lot of food from the United States isn't sold in Europe is because it breaks EU laws. The European Union
So
has.
that's probably the American ego for the brand companies too. Some of them don't want to change the laws because they're probably like, my product's good enough.
Chicken companies and those type of things that aren't sold in Europe because they're all hormoned up. Ugh.
Sold in Europe is because
But Don
it
said he's
breaks
gonna
EU
change it.
laws. The European Union has very strict laws on food safety, the ingredients in foods, and they just simply don't think a lot of American products are safe, to be honest. So, I know there are products, I think Mountain Dew, for instance, isn't sold in Germany. And
Mountain Dew's in Iceland, and we saw it somewhere.
They
else.
definitely have Skittles too, so maybe they like.
It's the Mountain Dew that's more like
US
clearish instead of like bright green like it is in the U.S. And then Skittles are much less colorful.
Wheat Thins are branded as healthy cereal in the U.S.
Well, that's the crackers wheat thing.
Oh yeah.
Those
yeah.
are also
Those are
branded as
healthy
healthies, too.
Yeah, like biscuits.
What? They're banned? What the heck's in there?
Some other
Box
things, a lot
mac
of
and
coloring
cheese,
sweeteners.
Gatorade. They definitely have Gatorade. They've had Gatorade since I've gone there in
Probably just-
2013.
They probably just have to switch.
It's always a
them, so-
different color. It's always a different color. It's not bright green or orange or yellow.
so,
And
again,
Gatorade in Italy is where I remember it. It tasted more like actual oranges than the crap we have in the U.S.
if we want to sell our food products or more of our food products in the European Union, in my opinion, we need to adapt our product to meet.
I bet you like 70% of the food at Walmart wouldn't be allowed in the U.S.
No
or in
way.
the EU.
I mean, there's entire aisles of chips that are definitely red forwarded to the max, and all those snacks that are just
Think about
full
those
of
like
chemicals.
huge gallons of like juices and like sodas.
Imagine what the generic like Walmart brand like
Yeah.
Mountain Lightning, what stuff's in there. It's so cheap.
No way that's allowed.
The market instead of expecting the market to adapt to the product. So just my thoughts, you know, who knows what's going to happen in this world? These talks of tariffs, they're on again, they're off again. They're going to be
Taco
50%. They're going to be 100%. They're going to be 15%. I don't know. So just curious, what are your thoughts? If you live in Europe, do you own any American-made products? And you know, and now that I think about
I
it,
don't live in Europe.
I hear a lot of
Asia.
people talking about, you know, they are much less likely. A lot of Europeans are much less likely to purchase products made by a company from the United States than they were 6 months ago. So I think
Props to a lot of Europeans, and we've seen Canadians doing this as well, kind of boycotting some products because of the unjust tariffs.
It's easy because a lot of our products from the U.S. kind of suck.
Yeah, they're not that necessary.
No,
Yeah.
no.
And I mean, if you live in Germany, Germany's like its own manufacturing hub. You can get a lot of German stuff,
Definitely.
live off a lot of German stuff only, basically.
made by a company from the United States than they were 6 months ago. So I think our business in Europe is going to go down because of that, you know, regardless of tariffs, just because the consumers are honestly a little angry. But so if you live in Europe, what are your thoughts? Are you more or less likely to purchase a product from the United States now? What do you feel about tariffs? What do you think about food from the United States? You know, are you less likely to eat it because you have safety concerns? Cars from the U.S. Would you purchase a U.S. car if the prices were lower?
I want to buy a Ford F-150, drink Mountain Dew, and nacho cheese Doritos while I drive down a small European street.
Yeah, get your what are those big sunglasses called? Those ones that are like huge. I forget what they're called.
Like the trucker sunglasses and my trucker hat. That's
Gotta
the
have a
most
mullet.
American thing ever right there.
Yeah, let us know your answers to his questions here. I'm curious to see what people say about that.
So interesting. I mean, it's stuff we've heard a long time is that like nobody wants the trash chicken and pork and stuff that we sell here in the US because it's so hormoned up. There's so many antibiotics in it and all this like super crazy stuff. Even the eggs in the US are done differently. There's just so many things. And then all the chemicals. So if you read the back of like a cereal in the US, it's like chemical, 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 sugar, chemical, chemical. Even our sugar, we use corn syrup. We can't just use normal sugar.
I mean, like you see, I think there's probably a video we could react to about it, but just like the different size of like a chicken breast, like it's insane. The chicken breast can be like this big in the U.S. and like an onion's like this.
I went back to the U.S. after being in Asia for like 2 years, and I mean, it's insane, the sizes. It's like shocking to remember how big those chicken breasts are. They're like fat too. They're like this big, and then they're like this fat.
Yeah, that's insane.
There's a reason why American products only are sold in America, except for, you know, McDonald's is everywhere.
And there's one clear indication of the health of American products, and that's just looking at the American people and the fact that in general, compared to other countries of the
Especially
size,
Europe.
yeah, similar wealth, Americans on average are more obese than Europeans. So that probably has some indication on the quality of American products.
The only places where I feel like the obesity rates compete are generally like super poor countries where American products or basically just become the main products.
Yeah, that's a lot of like the Pacific Islands. They're like the highest ones, and that's because they rely on the U.S. products and their super small populations, all like a super like big community, and they will eat a lot of those.
Mexico is like filled with a bunch of Coke products and stuff like that, and I think they have an obesity problem as well. But very interesting video. Let us know what you think down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.